Okay, so the first question in activity 3 is 3 bracket x minus 2 equals 6. And I suppose this is the first time that we have been dealing with bringing all that work that we did on box multiplication and our bracket work with the equals. So initially, when we started off in algebra, we started off by doing 3 bracket x minus 2 and working that out. Now, remember that brackets mean multiply, and so essentially you're multiplying the 3 by the x and the 3 by the minus 2. So if we were to do that, 3 times x gives me 3x, and 3 times minus 2 gives me minus 6 equals 6. I can also do this here by my box multiplication method, which means along the side and top I have a 3, and then up on top I have an x and a minus 2. And 3 times x gives me 3x, and 3 times minus 2 gives me minus 6. So 3x minus 6 is the answer there. So whether you prefer to just expand your brackets, so 3 times x gives me 3x, and 3 times minus 2 gives me minus 6 equals 6, or you prefer to do box multiplication, whatever way to work out the brackets. Now at this point, this is what we've been working on in activity 2, and it is getting things to be on the right side. So obviously I can see here that I have a letter, a number equals a number, and I want letters equal numbers. So this minus 6 is on the wrong side. How I can do that is I can add a 6, but remember, what I do to one side, I must do to the other. My new line will now be, as my plus 6 and my minus 6 will cancel, my new line will now be 3x equals 6 plus 6, which is 12. But again, this is 3 multiplied by x, and I would just like x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And x is equal to 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Okay, so that first question there asks you to multiply out the brackets. You can do it by expanding the brackets, so 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times minus 2 is minus 6, or you can do it by your box multiplication method. Once that's done, you're then left with an equation very similar to activity 2, where we're just balancing. So the first things first is work out the brackets first before you start into your balancing. Okay, my second example here is a longer version, but nonetheless the same method is required. So here you can see I've got a 4 bracket x minus 1, remember brackets mean multiply, is equal to 2 bracket 3x minus 7, and again brackets mean multiply. I'm going to work out my brackets first of all. That should always be your first step. Okay, so I'm going to do it by expanding the brackets and then also by the box multiplication method so that we can, whichever one that you choose to do. So obviously we're multiplying 4 times x gives me 4x, and 4 times minus 1 gives me minus 4 equals 2 times 3x gives me 6x, and 2 times minus 7 gives me minus 14. Now I have a letter, a number equals a letter and a number. So I've got a bit of rearranging to do. Remember, I want letters equal numbers. So this first thing I can see on the wrong side is this minus 4. How I'm going to get rid of that is I'm going to add a 4 to both sides. And you'll see they will cancel. So my new line now is 4x equals 6x, and minus 14 plus 4 gives me minus 10. Again, I want letters equal numbers, and I can see that this plus 6x is on the wrong side, so I will need a minus 6x. But again, what I do to one side, I must do to the other. My plus 6x and my minus 6x will cancel, and I'm left with 4x minus 6x, which is minus 2x equals minus 10. And again, at this point, I know myself that I'm looking for x, so divide by minus 2. And remember, a minus divided by a minus will give me a plus, and x is equal to plus 2 divided by 10 is 5. So if we were to have an overall look at that question and what we did, first things first was we worked out the brackets. Okay, and then we solved to find our x. Okay, so let's have a look at this next question. 4 bracket x plus 3 is equal to 5 plus 3 bracket x plus 2. Now when we learned about BIMDAS, the most important thing we learned was the fact that the brackets had to be worked out first. So this here needs to be worked out, as does 3 multiplied by x plus 2. We cannot add these two because that is addition, which happens after the brackets and after the multiplication. So my first line is going to be 4 times x, which is 4x, and 4 multiplied by 3, which gives me plus 12, equals 5 plus 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times 2, which is 6. At this point, guys, simplify if you can. So I can now write that as 4x plus 12 equals, well, instead of writing the 5 and the 6, I'm going to write 5 and 6, which is obviously 11, plus 3x. And now I ask myself, right, what is on the right side? What's on the wrong side? Remember, I want letters equal numbers. This is a letter, so it's on the right side, but this is a number, so I need to get rid of it. I use balancing to do this. It's a plus 12. If I bring in a minus 12, that will get rid of that. But again, what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So the plus 12 and the minus 12 are gone. And my new line now is 4x is equal to 11 minus 12 is going to give me minus 1 plus 3x. Again, I'm asked to have letters on one side, numbers to the other. So I still have something on the wrong side, and it is, of course, this plus 3x. It is not a number, so it needs to be gotten rid of. So I do minus 3x, but of course what I do to one side, I must do to the other. And the plus 3x and the minus 3x cancel, and I'm 4x minus 3x is just 1x, or x, equals minus 1. And so I've solved that question, but it took a lot of work in the sense that I needed to work out my brackets first. Then, once I've done that, simplify, and then I'm focusing on my letters and my numbers. So remember, 4 bracket x plus 3 means 4 multiplied by x, 4 multiplied by 3, equals 5, so that's on its own, plus, and then you've got this multiplication here. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. And you can use box multiplication to do this as well.